Hello viewers and my students, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to discuss 30 important MCQs from Shelley's famous poem To a Skylark. There are 2 more sets containing 30 each. To watch them, follow the links given below in the description section. These questions will be helpful for the students of English literature and also for the candidates of different competitive exams like NBS, KBS, WBS, LST, PGT, TGT and many more exams. Let's start. Number 1. Prometheus Unbound was published in. The options are 1817, 1820, 1822, 1819. We know that Shelley's famous lyrical drama Prometheus Unbound was published in 1820, and also the poem To a Skylark was published in this volume. And not only To a Skylark but also Ode to the West Wind was also published in this volume. So both the poems To a Skylark and Ode to the West Wind were published in the volume named Prometheus Unbound in the year 1820. So the right option is B, 1820. Now, number 2, the world should listen then. The world should listen to the Skylark, poet, god of wine, highborn maiden. Actually, this is the last line of Shelley's poem To a Skylark. The full line is, the world should listen then as I am listening now. So, this is the last line where Shelley wants to be the legislator of the world, or he wants to compel the people of the world to listen to him. So, the world should listen to the Skylark, poet, god of wine, highborn maiden. It is obviously the poet himself, because Shelley wants to compel the people of the world to listen to him. Okay, so the right option is B. Now, number 3. It was a beautiful dash evening while Shelley heard the song of a skylark which inspired this lyric, that is To a Skylark. The options are winter, spring, summer, autumn. The right option is, it is obviously summer, because we know that it was a beautiful summer evening when Shelley heard the song of a skylark, and this very song inspired him to compose this lyric. So the right option is C, summer. Now, number 4. Shelley was born in. The options are 1791, 1792, 1793, 1790. We know the lifespan of Shelley, it is from 1792 to 1822. So, Shelley was born in 1792. The right option is B. Now, number 5. Hail to thee. Here thee means poet, the moon, firefly, skylark. This is the opening line of the poem To a Skylark. The full line is, Hail to thee, blithe spirit. So, obviously, thee means here the bird or skylark. So, the right option is D, skylark, the bird. This is the opening line where Shelley addresses the skylark, because it's an ode, poem of address. Now, number 6. Better than all measures of dash sound. Fill in the blanks. This is stanza number 20. Better than all measures of delightful sound or musical rhythms. So the right option is obviously C, delightful. Now, number 7. Blithe spirit. Here, blithe means the options are blazed, joyful, wild, fictitious. The right option is obviously blithe means joyful, because Shelley means to say that the song of the skylark or the bird is full of everlasting joy and happiness. So, it's a spirit or unbodied joy, and the song of the bird is full of joy. So, blithe means joyous or joyful. So the right option is B, joyful. Now, number 8. Teach me half the gladness. Here the address is to the poet, rose, skylark, the moon. This is the fervent appeal Shelley makes to the skylark. In the poem Ode to the West Wind, Shelley made the same appeal, make me thy lyre even as the forest is. Here the address is to the obviously skylark. So the right option is C, because Shelley wants the bird to inspire him with his joyous song. So the right option is C. Now, number 9, the opening line of To a Skylark suggests the bird's mortality, immortality, superiority, wisdom. The opening line is, Hail to thee, blithe spirit. So, blithe means joyful or joyous. Spirits means bodiless, unbodied joy. Same. So, from the very opening line, it's clear that Shelley wants to prove that the bird isn't made of blood and flesh, but it's a spirit. As it's a spirit, so it is immortal. So, Shelley wants to prove the immortality of the bird. So, the right option is B, immortality. Now, number 10, poorest thy full heart. This is an example of simile, pun, metaphor, litotes. It is obviously herein we find an implied comparison, because the skylark song is here impliedly compared to shower. Why shower? Because the word poorest or po, it makes clear. So the right option is metaphor, implied comparison. When an implied comparison is made between two different things or objects, it is called metaphor. And whenever the comparison becomes explicit, it is simile. So herein we find an implied comparison between the song of the bird and the shower. So metaphor. The right option is C, metaphor. Now, number 11, better than all treasures. Here, treasures mean wealth, wisdom, money, skill. The full line is, better than all treasures that in books are found. So, treasures here means obviously wisdom. So, the right option is B, wisdom. Now, number 12, in profuse strains. Here, profuse means, the full line is, in profuse strain of unpremeditated art. So, profuse means here endless or limitless. So, the right option is B, endless. Why endless? This is said regarding the song of the skylark. According to Shelley, the song of the bird is endless or boundless because it never ends. So, profuse strain, endless song or strain of the bird. Now, number 13, such harmonious madness. This line refers to the song of extreme sadness, realism, joy, imagination. Harmonious madness actually means song of ecstasy and rapture. So the right option is obviously C, joy, not sadness or imagination or realism, but it is rapture or joy, extreme rapture. Now number 14, the first 4 lines of each stanza of To a Skylark are written in dash meter. We all know that Shelley's poem To a Skylark contains 21 stanzas and each stanza contains 5 lines. The first 4 lines are in trochaic meter and the last line is in iambic hexameter or alexandrine. So the right option is D, trochaic meter. Why trochaic? Because herein we find accent, unaccent, accent, unaccent. So this is trochaic. The right option is D. Now, number 15, in profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Here the word unpremeditated means The word unpremeditated means without practice or rehearsal. So the right option is D, practice, without practice. And herein we find a contrast. Why contrast? Because unlike human art, Shelley thinks that the skylark needs no practice or rehearsal in order to sing spontaneously. So its art is unpremeditated art, whereas the art of human beings requires repeated practice in order to gain perfection. But the skylark needs no practice. That's why unpremeditated art. So the right option is D. Now, number 16, the skill to poet wear. Here the word skill is related to. The full line is the skill to poet wear those corner of the ground. So skill related to highborn maiden, moon, poet himself, skylark. It is obviously the skylark. So the right option is D, because the skill related to the bird or skylark. Now, number 17, each stanza of To a Skylark contains dash lines. We all know that each stanza contains 5 lines. The first 4 lines are in trochaic meter and the last line iambic hexameter or alexandrine. So the right option is A, 5 lines. Now number 18, when To a Skylark was written, Shelley was in, the options are Italy, France, England, Switzerland. The right option is obviously A, Italy, because Shelley was in Italy, Leghorn. When the poem West Wind was written, Shelley was also in Italy, Leghorn. Now, number 19, Bird thou never wert. This is the second line of the first stanza. Here, wert means wire, wary, wheat, wound. The right option is obviously where. Actually, wert is the archaic or obsolete form and it means wire. So the right option is A. Now 20, those corner of the ground. This is the idea Shelley wants to express. Shelley's skylark is the creature of earth, sky, forest, blue ocean. Obviously, herein we find that the skylark scorns the ground or hates the ground. Ground means earth. So it can't be the creature of earth. It's obviously the creature of the sky. So the right option is B, sky. Now number 21, the pale purple even. Here even means still, event, evening, time. Actually here even means evening, because the lines were the pale purple even melts around thy flight. So even means evening. The right option is C. Next, number 22. I know not how thy joy we ever should come near. Here joy refers to the dash of the bird. Flight, life, song, nature. Remember that throughout the whole poem, Shelley speaks about the song of the bird, because the theme of To a Skylark is not the bird but its song. So joy refers to the song, obviously. So the right option is C, song. Now number 23, thou art unseen, but yet I hear thy shrill delight. Another poet expresses the same idea. The idea is the lark becomes a sightless song. He means another poet. The options are Tennyson, Wordsworth, Southey, Keats. The right option is obviously A, Tennyson, because Tennyson in his famous poem In Memoriam writes, the lark becomes a sightless song. So the right option is A, Tennyson, because Tennyson expresses the same idea. The idea is that the bird is unseen but its song is audible. This is the main idea expressed by Tennyson too. Next, number 24, like a star of heaven in the broad daylight. This simile, why simile? Because here we find the word like. So the comparison is explicit. Like a star of heaven in the broad daylight. This simile suggests the dash of the bird. The options are presence, invisibility, superiority, life. Star of heaven means star in the sky in the broad daylight. During daytime, we can't see a star due to the dazzling light of the sun. Likewise, the skylark is unseen, but his song is audible. So the simile suggests the obviously invisibility of the bird. So the right option is B, invisibility. Because the bird is unseen like a star during daytime, but his song is audible. Next, number 25. But yet I hear thy shrill delight. Here shrill delight means the light of the firefly, rays of the sun, golden light of the sun, loud and joyous song of the bird. The right option is obviously D, the loud and joyous song of the bird. Shrill delight means delightful song, that is loud and joyous song of the bird. Now, number 26. The pale purple even melts around thy flight. Rhetorically, this is an example of the options are climax, metaphor, interrogation, pun. Herein we find an implied comparison. Why implied comparison? Because the skylark remains in the sky even in the evening, when the fading reddish blue light scatters or seems to melt around it. So herein we find melting imagery, melting of ice. So metaphor, implied comparisons. The right option is obviously B. Next, number 27. In profuse strains of unpremeditated art. Here Shelley seems to dash human art. Praise, satirize, justify, vivify. The word unpremeditated means without practice or rehearsal. And here Shelley means to say that the bird, that is skylark, needs no practice or rehearsal in order to sing spontaneously. But human beings require repeated practice in order to gain perfection. So the art of human beings is totally different from that of the bird. So here Shelley seems to satirize or mock human art. So the right option is obviously B, satirize. Next, 28. Yet if we could dash hate and pride and fear, fill in the blank. Avoid, forget, scorn, despise. The right option is obviously scorn, because the lines were yet if we could scorn hate and pride and fear. So the right option is scorn. Next, 29. Shelley calls the skylark the options are musician, poet, rose, joyful spirit. And from the very opening line, Shelley addresses the bird as blithe spirit. Blithe spirit means joyful spirit or unbodied joy, same meaning. So the right option is obviously joyful spirit, because according to Shelley, the bird is immortal. It is not made of blood and flesh, and side by side the song of the bird is full of joy. So joyful spirit or blithe spirit. So the right option is D. Now last one, 30. Thou scorner of the ground, but another poet presents the skylark as fond of the earth. He is. The options are Blake, Byron, Wordsworth, Keats. It is obviously the great romantic poet Wordsworth, because in his famous poem To the Skylark, not to a skylark but to the skylark, Wordsworth presents the skylark as lover of the ground. So the right option is C, Wordsworth. So completed. Thank you.